సో యాక్చువల్గా ఇందాక మేము ఆ పాయింట్ చూసుకుని 4 కార్నర్స్ పాయింట్ చూసుకుని కార్లో గ్యాస్ కొట్టించుకుందామని వస్తే ఇక్కడ ఫ్రెష్ మటన్ అని ఏదైతే ఉందో లైక్ ఒక బోర్డు కనిపిస్తుంది అనమాట. సరే ఫ్రెష్ మటన్ దొరికిద్దామని చెప్పి లోపలికి వెళ్తే ఇప్పుడు మీకు కనిపించిన లైక్ ఇప్పుడు ఏదైతే నేను వీడియో పడుతున్నానో ఆ వీడియోలో వ్యక్తి నవాహో అనే యొక్క తెగకి ఆ ట్రైబ్కి సంబంధించిన వ్యక్తి అనమాట. ఆయన వారి యొక్క హిస్టరీని అంతా చెప్పాడు. వారి యొక్క స్పిరిట్స్ వాళ్ళు దేన్ని నమ్ముతారు, ద షిప్ రాక్ అనుకుంటుంది. అది పైనుంచి చూస్తే ఈగల్ లాగా కనిపిస్తుందంట. దాంట్లో వారి యొక్క దేవత ఉంటుందని వాళ్ళు నమ్ముతారంట వారి యొక్క తెగ వాళ్ళు. అక్కడ ఎవరైనా వెళ్తే వాళ్ళని చంపేస్తుందని. సో చాలా ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అయితే ఇచ్చాడు. నేను అదంతా మీకు తెలుగులో ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తే వీడియో చాలా పెద్దదైపోతుంది. ఆయన మాటలోనే ఏదైతే చెప్పాడో అవంతా మీకు పెడుతున్నాను చూడండి. సో మేము లైట్ ఉన్నప్పుడే లోపలికి వెళ్ళాం. అంత ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ తెలుసుకుని వారి యొక్క మొత్తం డీటెయిల్స్ ఇచ్చారనమాట. సో వాళ్ళు చెప్పిన ఆ ప్రకారం చూస్తే నాకు నిజంగా చాలా 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 ఎక్సైట్మెంట్గా ఉంది. వాళ్ళకి దెయ్యాలు కనిపిస్తాయి అంట, వాళ్ళ దెయ్యాలు ఇంట్లో తిరుగుతాయి అని చాలా చాలా చెప్పారు. ఎక్కడ ప్లేసెస్ కూడా చెప్పారనమాట. ఇలాంటి ప్లేసెస్ ఇలాంటి విషయాలన్నీ తెలుసుకున్నప్పుడే నాకు కూడా ఒకసారి వెళ్ళి దాని మీద డాక్యుమెంటరీ తీయాలనిపిస్తూ ఉంటుంది. నాకు టైం కుదిరినప్పుడు ఆయన నేమ్స్ చెప్పారు కొన్ని, దాన్ని నేను నోట్ చేసుకున్నాను. సో దానికంటే మీరు వీడియో చూసేసేయండి. నేను చాలా లాంగ్ చేయాలనుకోవట్లేదు. ఆ వీడియో మీకు ఖచ్చితంగా నచ్చింది అనుకుంటున్నాను. ఓకే, సో ఇంక అయిపోయింది. మేము ఇక్కడ నుంచి బయలుదేరేస్తున్నాం. బాయ్. నవాహో ఆ యొక్క తెగకి సంబంధించిన ప్రెసిడెంట్ అంట ఆయన. నవాహో. ఓకే, గాట్ ఇట్.
We dyed the wool ourselves. Along the river here too, there's ghosts and other things. My brother is raising.
అవన్నీ తయారు చేశాను. తనకు వచ్చాక అవన్నీ చేయండి. 20 years నుంచి ఉన్నారంట వాళ్ళ నాన్నమ్మ చేసేవాళ్ళు. ఇప్పుడు ఈమె కూడా చేస్తుంది.
The best place to see one is like up here. There's a summer boat town. There's a small dirt road, but you're not the parking way. You're not skating cars. So they're gonna.
సో ఈవిడ 20 సంవత్సరాల నుంచి కొన్ని వీళ్ళకి తెగకి సంబంధించిన కొన్ని ఐటమ్స్ ఉన్నాయన్నమాట. రాళ్ళకు సంబంధించి అవన్నీ వాళ్ళకి చూపిస్తానని చెప్పారు. చూడండి, ఆ తెగకి సంబంధించిన వాళ్ళు తయారు చేసిన రాళ్ళు అనమాట. లైట్లు వేయడానికి వెళ్ళారు ఆవిడ. యా, సో ఆవిడ ఏదో చూపిస్తానని తీసుకెళ్తున్నారు. ఓకే, వావ్ వావ్. ఈ తెగకి సంబంధించింది ఈవిడ ఇప్పుడు చూపిస్తున్నారు. ఎస్,
this is what we're known for. This is where we keep all of the rugs.
Okay.
Most of it all comes from our area.
Okay.
This comes from kind of everywhere depending on where the weaver is from.
Okay. ఇవన్నీ ఆవిడ ఓన్. యూ డిడ్ దిస్ రైట్? యా. ఆవిడ ఓన్ గా చేశారంట ఇవంతా.
Is my grandmother's, I believe.
ఓ, వాళ్ళ అమ్మమ్మ గారు తయారు చేశారంటే వీళ్ళ చేత్తో వీళ్ళు తయారు చేసిన ఐటమ్స్ అంటే ఇవన్నీ ఆవిడ చూపిస్తున్నారు. ఓకే, ఇది ప్రతి ఒక్కటి వాళ్ళు డాక్యుమెంట్ చేసి ఎవరు చేశారు వాళ్ళ అమ్మ. దిస్ ఈజ్ యువర్ గ్రాండ్ మదర్. సారీ. సో వారి అమ్మగారంట ఎవరైతే దీన్ని తయారు చేశారో వారి యొక్క ఫోటో అండ్ దాని డీటెయిల్స్ కూడా వీళ్ళు ఇక్కడ పెట్టారనమాట. డాక్యుమెంట్ చేసి పెట్టారు ఇలా ప్రతి దాని మీద. చూడండి వాళ్ళ అమ్మమ్మ గారు. సో ఇట్స్ సో గుడ్. సో ఇక్కడ చూడండి, అదిగోండి ఎవరైతే తయారు చేశారో వాళ్ళ ఫోటో ప్లస్ వాళ్ళ డీటెయిల్స్ అన్ని పెట్టారనమాట. సో ఇవన్నీ చూడండి. సో దిస్ ఆల్ థింగ్స్. ఓ, అసలు నాకు బాగా నచ్చింది ఏంటంటే ఇది చూడండి, అసలు ఎంత ఎక్సలెంట్ ఉందంటే ఈ షీప్ మాత్రం అదిరిపోయింది. సో ఇవన్నీ వాళ్ళ చేతులతో తయారు చేశారు, హోమ్ మేడ్ అంట. చాలా చాలా అద్భుతంగా ఉంది. ఇది చూడండి, ఈ పాట్ ఆవిడ తయారు చేశారంట. బాబా బాబా, చాలా 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 ఎక్సలెంట్గా ఉంది. సో ఇట్స్ రియలీ సో గుడ్, సో బ్యూటిఫుల్. సో నిజంగా చెప్పాలంటే వీళ్ళు అసలు ఎంత బాగా చేశారంటే అసలు డాక్యుమెంటేషన్ అనేది ఒక కొత్త ఐడియా అనమాట. ఆవిడ ఏదో చూపిస్తానని తీసుకెళ్తాను. వాట్
This is how it's strung up. This is how we weave. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This
So
is how it's strung up in between. We usually use a loom. It goes up like this.
Okay.
It's square.
Uh-huh.
And then we usually have our basket of yarn, and that's just how we do it. We keep picking between each string. Each layer is its own design.
ఇది చూడండి, ఇది దీన్ని తయారు చేస్తారంట, లైక్ తయారు చేసేది వీటితో తయారు చేస్తానని చెప్పారు మిషన్ అది. బాబా.
And this is how we spin it. We
Okay.
stretch out the like locks like this.
Uh-huh.
We stretch it out and then we
సో
spin it.
ఇలాంటివి ఉంటాయి చూసారా, ఇలాంటివన్నీ మలిపి ఇలా తయారు చేసే దారం లాగా, దాంతో వాళ్ళు ఈ ఎక్విప్మెంట్ యూజ్ చేసి ఇలా తయారు చేస్తామని చూపించారు. రియలీ సో గుడ్ యర్. సో ఐ యూ స్టడీయింగ్ ఎనీథింగ్ హియర్?
Do I sell anything?
Yeah. No. Or you're studying anything here?
Yeah, everything in here is for sale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
ఏమకి నేను ఒకటి అడిగితే ఇంకోటి అడిగినా. No, what I was asking in the sense, are you studying?
Oh,
You're a graduate student or?
I'm a college student. I actually started this first semester. This first week was my.
ఓకే
Yeah.
ఓకే, ఆవిడ చదువుకుంటున్నారు. నేను చదువుకుంటున్నాను అడిగితే ఇవన్నీ అమ్ముతారు అన్నట్టు అర్థమైనట్టుంది. సో ఇవన్నీ చూడండి, వాళ్ళకి తెగకు సంబంధించిన అన్ని వాళ్ళు చేశారు. ఈ డ్రెస్ చూడండి. సో వాట్ ఈస్ దిస్ క్లాత్?
It's buckskin.
విచ్ సారీ?
Deer hide.
ఓ,
Deer hide, buckskin, yeah.
ఇది తోలు, ఇది డియర్ తోలుతో తయారు చేసిన డ్రెస్ అన్నమాట. నిజంగా చెప్పాలంటే అబ్బా బాబా అదిరిపోయింది. ఇది పట్టుకుంటే నాకు తెలుస్తుంది, అందుకని అడిగాను అనమాట. ఇది తోలుగా ఉంది ఏంటంటే అది డియర్ స్కిన్.
Clothing, we use it for storage. We also use it for like shoe.
ఓ, సో దీనికి ఇది డ్రెస్సులు చేస్తారంటే ఈ క్లాత్తో, అలానే షూస్ తయారు చేస్తారంటే. వాట్ ఈస్ దిస్?
It's a cradle board. It's for the baby.
Oh!
They sleep in, yeah.
So-
After they are laid to sleep, they are wrapped, they are swaddled,
Okay.
and then they're placed in it, and then afterwards you can cover it.
ఓకే.
And the baby has, yeah.
చిన్నపిల్లలు పుట్టిన తర్వాత దీంట్లో వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారంటే దీంట్లో చుట్టి పడుకోబడతారంట పిల్లల్ని. చాలా బాగుంది, చాలా అంటే చాలా బాగుంది అనమాట. ఇక్కడ చూడండి, వీళ్ళు బొమ్మలు తయారు చేశారు, చెక్కతో బొమ్మలు తయారు చేశారు. అండ్ అలానే ఇదిగోండి ఈ దుప్పట్లు, దాంతోనే వాళ్ళకి చూపించిన ఆ క్లాత్తోనే ఈ సోఫా కూడా వాళ్ళే చేశారనమాట, వాళ్ళకి దొరికిన ఎక్విప్మెంట్స్తో. వాట్ ఈస్ దిస్ ఫెదర్స్? ఇట్స్ ఈగల్ ఆర్?
I believe it's a turkey feather.
ఓకే, ఇవన్నీ టర్కీ ఫెదర్స్ అంట. వాళ్ళ ఎక్విప్మెంట్ చూడండి, ఆ తెగకు సంబంధించిన ఈ యొక్క కత్తి, స్వార్డ్, ఇది చాలా బాగుంది. సో ఎనీథింగ్ స్పెషల్ యూ వాంట్ షో టు అవర్ ఫ్రెండ్స్? మళ్ళీ
The most you can get.
ఓకే.
John, this is the one and only one we still have,
ఓకే
and this, I tell you, this is enormous.
ఓకే, చాలా పెద్దగా ఉంది. సో వాట్స్ ది స్పెషాలిటీ ఆఫ్ దిస్? పాప మా అన్నీ ఓపెన్ చేసి.
This will cost anywhere from about $3,000.
$3,000?
Yeah, 3,000.
ఓకే, ఇది $3,000 అంట. వాట్ ఈస్ ద స్పెషాలిటీ ఆఫ్ ఇట్?
Just the size and then the detail of the design of it. And
Okay.
then this itself is very unique because it's not following anything. It's its own design.
Okay.
It's an original.
సో ఇది ఒరిజినల్గా వారి యొక్క సొంత డిజైన్తో తయారు చేశారు, చాలా లాంగ్, దాన్ని బట్టి వాళ్ళు చార్జ్ చేస్తున్నారని చెప్పారనమాట. ఈ సూపర్ యార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. యా, ఇవన్నీ తయారు చేశారు ఇంకా వాళ్ళు, వాళ్ళ యొక్క వెపన్స్ అనమాట. అవి చూడండి. అండ్ ఇక్కడ చూస్తే వాళ్ళ బెల్ట్లు సంథింగ్ అక్కడ ఉన్నాయి చూసారా, వాళ్ళ బెల్ట్లు తలకు పెట్టుకునేవన్నీ ఇక్కడ పెట్టారనమాట, బ్యాంగిల్స్ టైప్ ఇవన్నీ. ఓకే, వాళ్ళ యొక్క డ్రమ్స్ ఇదిగోండి, ఆ తెగకు సంబంధించిన డ్రమ్స్. సో ఇవన్నీ ఏంటిది? దిస్ ఈస్ అ ఫ్లూట్?
Yes, yeah.
ఓ, వేర్ ఫ్రమ్ దిస్ వే?
Yeah, that's it.
ఓకే. సో ఇది ఫ్లూట్ అనమాట, వీళ్ళకి సంబంధించిన ఫ్లూట్. సో ఈ యొక్క వెపన్స్ చూడండి, ఇక్కడేమో వాళ్ళకి సంబంధించిన వెపన్స్ అనమాట. ఇవన్నీ బోన్స్ అనమాట, యానిమల్ బోన్స్తో తయారు చేసుకున్నారు ఇవన్నీ. చాలా అయితే బాగుంది. థ్యాంక్స్ అ లాట్.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ. సో ఇంకా అయితే బ్యాక్ టు కార్.
Navajo first, and then he breaks it down in English, because you know you as a person is here. Then of course you have your life, your spiritualism, and then the nature energy, the people energy around you as well, and then the harmony of the world. So basically it comes out looking like a nexus or an atom. And part of our mythology is that you start out as a dot, and then you become a line, and then you become a 3D, and then after that, when you're born, you exist in time. But after you're born, whoever you run into, like America, when you turn 18, whoever you run into and start talking to, that starts creating your fifth dimension, which is the world that you want to live in, the people you want to live with, the energy, the food, the life of where you want to live at. That's creating your own kind of universe. And that's why we have a joke saying you're the god of your own universe, because unfortunately you also can, if you're vindictive or you go to this anger, you have the ability to take people's lives. That's just for men, women, they can create life. But the thing of it is, you always have to stay in balance, and that's the one thing that that's what all of us like to achieve, and try to be in harmony, not just with ourselves, but with the planet and with the people around us, and that's the nexus. So once you get to your fifth world, that's how that goes for your soul and spirit, and then eventually you can jump to the sixth world, when after you pass on, the people you met here will give you energy, kind of like the land of the remembered in Mexican mythology, and that is what can create you to go to the sixth world, and that's where like Beyonce, Madonna, Mariah Carey, and all these different really important people, Mozart, Beethoven, Ramesses, Buddha, Jesus Christ, all these, they're all up here because people still remember them. So as you know, we have energy in our body and the universe, so that can phase here to this one and then go to this one where you're constantly remembered by other people, and that's how you kind of become a demigod. Even though they were like, Mozart, a demigod, but if you really like music, trumpet, and the way he played his music was beautiful. So it just depends upon how you see things and how you feel about things, but always remember that you were created not to kill, not to destroy, not to go out rape, doing all these other things, and just be happy with what you are and how you are with what you have. Because one of the other Navajo codes is that you shouldn't want anything anybody else has, whether it's the wife, the land, the car, anything, because a little bit of effort, you can get those things, and you don't have to feel bad about not having those things, so you get darkened thoughts, and then you go out hurting people to try to get those things, but it don't mean nothing. Like my dad said, if you stole a BMW, what's going to happen? I was like, I'm going to jail. He goes, yeah. But if you worked really hard and bought that same $55,000 BMW, you'd be happy to have it and own it. But if someone stole it from you, you don't care because you have insurance on it. You can buy another one, and it doesn't mean as much to you having got it yourself versus stealing it from somebody else, because it doesn't have the same value.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. And do you think like there are any other places in Navajo Nation just like that, like spiritually connected to mythology and everything?
So the Navajo Nation is like the main part of the Mexican mythology?
No. Mexican mythology is different now. Read books and stuff. Mythology, Aztecs were made out of Apaches, Navajos, Utes, Pimas, Pueblo tribes. They did the DNA test on them. And all of us were told by our gods to go down there when we started a new civilization. But then once their civilization was in collapse, and this is where the story of Montezuma's gold comes in. Montezuma's gold is from the aliens, so it's really pure, it's special. So they brought it back up this way to what they call Aztalia. Now, people of Mexican descent will say Aztalia is over in South Baja, Mexico, somewhere in that area, the Mojave Desert. For the Navajos and the tribes that live in this area, it's up towards an area called Kanab. And that's also the area in mythology where there's also giant people. Black giants, white giants, red giants, yellow giants. They all live in that area.
That is the picture that symbolizes all those giants you mentioned right now.
No, that's horse racing. That's the owner. He owns horses, the one that owns the store. And that he commissioned somebody to make paintings of them. But this is also part of like the mythology of things, because that gold was very important, and that's why they brought it up here to hide it. Now, a lot of us out here, because our treaty with the government, we know where all the gold, the diamond, the silver is, but we don't care. And we can't sell it, because if we try to sell it, we're going to go to jail from the government because of our treaty with the government. And more than anything, it just causes problems. Like I used to have a lot of friends in high school, and they were like, "Oh, you don't believe in spiritual stuff? Do you not believe in the aliens?" And I was like, all right, then let's go. So we would go somewhere, and I don't have any friends anymore because I got to show them what they wanted to see, and then now that they saw it, it scared them, and they blamed me for it when I said, you're the one who wanted to go over there. I knew where it's at. And I
So what actually did you show them?
One, there's a portal to the water world. In our mythology, there was a third world, and now we're in the fourth world, so the water's flooded. We have UFOs that fly down this area. We have UFOs that fly down in this area. We have UFOs that fly in this area. And of course, in the darkest areas, you have the boogeyman, you know, the guys that, you know, wear the dead animal hides and run around and scare people and things like that. They're up in that area as well. And took my friends out there to go see them, and now they just got scared. Because all of us, we believe, but at the same time, it's different to see. Like this Christian woman, I was talking about Bigfoot, and we had there's a cell phone tower up here, and the crew has pictures of them. They used to come down here with their food, and they're like, hey, look at these pictures. They have pictures of Bigfoot, but they weren't allowed to share it. What really pisses me off is that they also stole a important rock, and it was the side of a long-necked dinosaur, and she had a baby dinosaur on her ribs. In scientific terms, are called calcium babies. Babies that are not born, but they lay against the side and they make an impression. And here it is, that company stole that entire rock. And it had dinosaur skin and ribs on it, like a mom dinosaur, and the baby was on the inside. Because a lot of our mythology says that we were here, humans were around the same time as the dinosaurs. Now, if you go down to Texas or other parts of the world, there are footprints of humans when dinosaurs were running around too. And that is one of the other mythologies. And of course, in Mexico, southern Mexico, they have the rocks with the paintings of the dinosaurs and stuff on them as well. And that's, you know, there's a lot to it. And it's mostly based on, because since this is America, it's mostly based on Christianity. But when you get to see all these things, whether they're demonic spirits, ghosts, Bigfoots, and these weird we call them little people. They're hobbits, I guess you could call them, from Florence. They live along the river as well. We call them bone collectors too. And then they're the size of like little children, but they're really strong and they got sharp teeth. And then there's really, really tiny ones, and those ones are only about this tall. They only have one eye, one ear, and a mouse on the side of their head.
Do they exist?
Yeah.
Right now?
They exist. If you're crazy enough to be at the nighttime at the end of this mesa, they will pop out at you and they will start scaring you. And at the end of this mesa, there was a large battle that took place 300 years ago. So you will start, I don't know, you guys ever seen Ghosts? Patrick Swayze? You know, this is for love, and he comes out with that little penny. Yeah, that one. Remember how the spirits, they came out of the ground, roar, all black and stuff? Over here, where they had this battle between us and the Utes about 300 something years ago, a lot of people died, and then those spirits will still move around, and you can see them as dark spirits moving from bush to bush, and it will scare you pretty bad. And that's why nobody lives at the end of this mesa. People live further. When you go down to the Four Corners, you're going to see by the power lines, people live there, but nobody lives close. And you're going to see ruins of old houses that were there. Those were my relatives, and they got scared from living there, so that's why they don't live there on that side.
Do they harm you?
I don't know. I've never been harmed. They like my daughter. That's the only
Like
reason I know
torture?
that. My daughter, in Navajo mythology, when you bury a belly button, it's in Navajo it's called a tse. In science terms, it's the stem cells of your mother, your father, and you inside of this piece of the belly button, and then we bury it into the ground. That way, it's a down payment to life. At the same time, it's connection with the Creator, so the Creator will give you energy as well, nature energy and ability, if you want, over time and space, or people and animals. It's like a trust thing. So when we were burying it, my daughter's mom, she's from Las Vegas, she's a white American lady. She turned and she videotaped it. It was hanging off the roots on the cliff looking at us. And then it ran back up. And since then, my daughter's seen it from time to time. And the last time I seen it was about 4 years ago. It came into the house. It was under her bed. And we live in a hogan, which is round. Her bed was here. Our bed is on the west side. And it ran from her bed underneath our bed. Oh. And we used to have all these toy swords and small little knives that we used to use for work and stuff. they all disappeared. And lately, my DVD player and my amplifier for my TV to get the TV signals, both of those have been cut right across at the power line. So I was laughing, saying that little man is mad because my daughter, she moved to Nevada, Las Vegas. She's not home, so he's mad at us because she's not home. So that's why he cut the things. They could be dangerous. Anything is dangerous. A wolf, an animal, a bear. It's just how you respect it and treat it. And how smart are you not to get near it is the other thing. And these creatures, they do what they do, and you just leave them as is, and they're okay. But like anything, you know, if they go crazy, what am I going to do? Run up this way and start blowing up all those holes where they might live at, just to be spiteful? But hasn't harmed us, so it's okay as far as I'm concerned.
Can we have the pictures of them in the Google?
I don't have pictures of those ones.
Maybe can we find them on the Google?
On a
Like,
Google?
on the internet?
The little people you might, but you're gonna come up with Florence and the Indonesian islands, because that's where they found one. They call them hobbits, and they're small little people. And
Can you spell that for me?
you can Google it. It'll be Florence Hobbit is under. It's Florence FLONCECA. I don't know. I'm terrible at spelling too. It's a Native American. It's English language. I don't want to spell it. My preference. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. You can check things out. The Navajo Teachings is a really good one, and the Crypto Four Corners should still be on there. I don't know if it's still though, because the guy John passed away about 9-10 years ago. And he was the one tracking the Bigfoots up here. He was the one that was tracking the desert anaconda in the water. We have a water snake that is about 40, 50 feet big. And its eyes are not like a regular snake's eyes. Its eyes are like this. And it can change color of its skin, and it avoids people because it's part of our mythology. Where Moses had the bird, you know, he sent out the bird. In our mythology, it was a little boy with a large snake to make sure all the other creatures that were here, the giants, the dinosaur people, and all these other people and creatures that lived, they all got sucked down underneath us into the ocean, into the third world, which is why a lot of us are scared to get near the water. We don't like to get near the water because we don't know if there's one of those creatures in there. It sounds silly, but at the same time, that's why a lot of us don't go playing in the rivers and things like that. And it's just because of the way we were raised to respect water and the potential of what might be in it.
Oh, is there anything special about the Monument Valley? I mean, is it? We always see it as like an alien place or something.
Well, see, Monument Valley, it had uranium mines, so there's uranium that comes out, radiation, and if you know anything about UFOs, they go by something called element 15, and it's a radioactive element of some sort. And when because we have mines up here that some of them are still open, and they radiate out energy down here by the state line, what I was talking about earlier, where you see the UFOs, it radiates radiation too. So does Mexican water, where they dump the uranium material, and then from Monument Valley and Monument Valley itself. So that's why we have a lot of aliens running around. But in our culture, there's only 8 different aliens versus, what was that? Maharaba text or something, and it comes out with 1,238 different aliens, and some of them are not even physical; they're dimensional beings that are from different. And in the Mahabharata, or that story of India where they explain all of it, they have different aliens, and all of them are like that, just like we have them here. And all the cultures, you know, they fly around, they just soak things up, and then they take off. And as far as I know, they only took one guy. They replaced his hip. And then he left orders with his family that when he died, he didn't want to get exhumed because he didn't want them to take that piece out of his hip. They replaced his hip bone right here, his cartilage and meat. They replaced the whole thing inside of here, and it looked like a brand new thing. Like when my dad, when he passed away, he had a ability to absorb radiation. And when he passed away, he left the same lesson. And if you guys are going to send this out on the world, his epiphany as a uranium worker was that uranium, unprocessed uranium, comes out like a tree trunk, like a big old chunk of ore. That's what he says it looks like. I've never worked with him, so I got to take his word. And he says that when that ore is taken out fresh, you can get that Geiger counter and run it, there's nothing. But if you get a knife and you cut into the bark and you pull the bark up, open that part up and it goes off because there's radiation. He said the bark that's on that uranium, that's the cure for all the cancers in the world, because if the bark is strong enough to keep the radiation from the uranium inside and not coming out, that bark is the most important thing. And when they told the men where he was working at what uranium was, because they were taking clothes, wood, water, and things, and they realized they were killing their families because they were the radiation. And my dad cut the bark off of it and he ate it. And he tried to tell his friends to eat it, and they're like, "No, I'm not going to eat it. That's crazy." My dad, out of the whole crew, besides the guy that owned the mine, that never been in the mine, he's the one that outlived everybody else because of that bark that he ate. Because he believed that bark was the one that could save his life rather than any kind of medicine, and it kept him going long enough.
And one last question. Tell us anything about the Navajo Nation where world doesn't know anything about. I mean, like one secret or anything.
Something like a fact, maybe, but
Maybe, yeah.
the world doesn't know really.
We want to talk to people. The Navajo people out here will stare at you at a distance, will look really stoic and mad at you. But the fact is, we're really nice. We're really social, cordial.
Okay.
It's just that one of the rules that we grow up is "Tonaketi de nepanake." And that's a Navajo phrase. It's one of the rules. It means what people do in their lives is not your problem and not your business, so stay out of it. So that's why when you're out here, you'll just see people staring at you like this or gawking at you, and then they want to talk. They know how to talk. It's just that they feel shy. Yeah, like all cultures, we're shy. We're hard to open up about ourselves, who we are, how we feel. We don't have a good tendency to share those things, and that's what leads a lot of us into alcoholism, because we get really upset that we're embarrassed to express our weakness, and more than anything, we'll get hurt even more if someone laughs at our weakness. So that is one of the things that nobody really knows, is that besides a large tribe, we're just kind of closed up like that, and we're shy for that reason. And that's why wherever you go, you're going to see people just staring at you like this, because they when they want to talk, it's just they're embarrassed and shy. Like some Navajo guys I know when they leave the reservation, they're, "Hey sugar, hey baby, hey sweetie, you want this and that?" You know how people talk like that, Americans talk. They're like, "Oh, she wants me, she loves me." I was like, no, that's just the way they talk, okay? They don't really mean it, because we don't say that. And that's one of the other things that culturally, we're just kind of shy about, is that we don't have the world social skills. We only have our little world, and most of us keep to ourselves, because one, we don't have to worry about cops constantly pulling us over, IDing us, asking us where we're going, because there's only a few cops on the reservation. We don't have to really have that much racism, because most of us look like Navajos, except when the tourists like you guys come through and we just stare at you like this. And other thing would be is that it's a lot quieter, and for me personally, I like to just walk around the mesa. I practice with my spear, my sword every now and then. Nobody bothers me. If you did that outside in America somewhere, and they'll call the cops, "Oh, he's out here swinging a sword, crazy man. There's out here doing this," and you get that. Or, "Oh, he's shooting all these guns right here." In America, in bigger cities, that's a problem. Out here, you're just like, he's shooting the other direction. Don't worry. And so, yeah, it's a little different.
Do you have a different language, like just for you people, or it's
a
just
common
language you
language.
speak? Just like the next
We speak English mostly. There is Navajo, or the Nepasad is the way they call it. It's the Navajo language. I speak mine backwards. I speak like an Apache or Spanish or a white person, so I don't speak Navajo that often to my own people, because like I said, they'll laugh at me, I'll get mad.
Does the Navajo language have a script, or it's just the language you speak?
It's just the language. It's not written down. They have written it down since we had the code talkers and stuff like that during World War II. That's where they started writing it down, and there is areas where there are pictures of it and stuff like that, the written language. You just got to find it. It is available out there as a script, but there is a second language that we do have, and it's called the medicine man language. And that one, you have to be a medicine man and part of the group to know that language, because it has magic to it. And magic in this case would be oscillation sound on a quantum level to create and remix molecular universe to what you want it to be at. So basically, it's almost like the magic of a genie is what it does, and that's why their language is kept secret. You have to be a medicine man to learn those words, because if you not and you use them in the wrong sequence, you could cause problems for yourself or accidentally hurt others. And that's the magic language that's in Navajo with everybody else, and that's why that one's really secretive. I don't know that much of it, and the ones I do know, I don't want to share those either because they're magic words.
Okay. Yeah.
So where did this Navajo people, really started to originate? You mean their existence period? How many years it have been?
Well, if you go with general education, we came from a place in Canada called the Tibet Valley or Navajo Valley. Basically, we had to move out of there because in the mythology is if you dig around in the ground, these spirits will come out of they will form out of the air with wooden masses with a black blade, and they chop your head off. So with that being said, and you got to dig in the ground to make farms and stuff, the Navajos, the Apaches, and the other Athabascans, we moved out of that area and came down this way, and that's when we started farming. And that's the educated terminology. Now, when it comes to Navajo tradition, there was a first world, a second world, and then we were in a third world. The third world is when we became human, and then we started hanging out with other humans, the ancestral Pueblos. But then once that world got flooded, we left and we came to this world, which is the fourth one that we've lived on. And we already knew this is the second time there was a solar system. Aliens are not really aliens. They're the first people of the solar system. If you guys ever studied stellar cartography, you would know about the Oort cloud, 1.5 light years all the way outside of Pluto, and there's actually small brown dwarfs out there, stars that you can't see, but they still can create heat, and they have aliens that live around them. What they we consider aliens, but in our Navajo mythology, they're called the first people of the solar system, and we knew back then that there was already a solar system before this one. That's where you get the gray aliens and the different looking dinosaur aliens, the rock people, the ghost people, or the spiritual elemental people, and they're all out there. And now that this one reforms, some of them come back to visit, but a lot of them like to stay out there in the Oort cloud where they live at now. They don't live on Earth no more, but they live on the outside where the old solar system used to be at. And that's one of the other stories from the Nasazas, the ancestral Pueblo. That's not a Navajo story. That's the ancestral Pueblo story. Yeah. So, well,
Thank you so much. You're incredibly smarter than you.
No,
Thank you.
I'm just trying to explain things basics. If we got to know each other better and I could explain it through equations, models, images, or sketches and stuff like that, it would be easier to understand. But like the Akashic record, I think that's also from India as well. They call it the Akashic record. In Navajo, it's the beauty of life. It's what it's called, and that's where you can, as when you sleep and your body leaves, your spirit leaves your body. That's where you get to go to see your relatives and knowledge, ancestors, and information, technology and stuff like that. But it's if you want it, and like I said before, if you're raised like we are to believe that this is a good part of life, but not life itself, because there's more to it that you came from and you're going to, then you just gotta really just stay in harmony until you get to go on to the other part of the path of life, or your next evolution, I guess you could say that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
guys have a good day.
Yeah.
We got to know.